بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه الطيبين الطاهرين. We ask Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala to grant us the sincere intentions. In our previous session we spoke about Al-Jannah, and we spoke about the general endowments, the general enjoyment that is for every single person in paradise. Today we're going to continue, inshaAllah, speaking about some of the enjoyments that are for every person in Al-Jannah, and then we'll speak about some of the enjoyments that are exclusive to some of the people of paradise. To start with, Al-Bukhari narrated that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, إِذَا سَأَلْتُمُ اللَّهَ الْجَنَّةِ, if you ask Allah for Al-Jannah. And who amongst the Muslims doesn't ask Allah for Al-Jannah? So what it means is when you ask Allah for Al-Jannah, when you make dua and you ask Allah for Al-Jannah, the Prophet advised alayhi salatu wassalam, فَسَلُوهُ الْفِرْدَوْسِ, then ask for Al-Firdaus. Ask for Al-Firdaus. Then he described what that is, alayhi salatu wassalam. He said, فَإِنَّهُ أَوْسَطُ الْجَنَّةِ, it is the most central part of paradise. وَأَعْلَى الْجَنَّةِ, and the highest part of paradise. وَفَوْقَهُ عَرْشُ الرَّحْمَنِ, and above it is the arsh of Allah, of Ar-Rahman. Al-Firdaus, it is the reward that the pious people receive. And we're going to talk a little about it later, insha'Allah. But you see, we've started the session speaking about Al-Firdaus because that should be the aim for every single Muslim. That is the place where the prophets will be, Al-Firdaus. That is the place where the righteous, pious, God-fearing Muslims will be, those with the highest ranks. That's where they will be. And it's not the case that we, here today, we do not have the opportunity to enter Al-Firdaus. No, we do. We do. Those that don't enter Al-Firdaus, they will enter, and enter paradise, they will enter the other parts of paradise. Okay? Those parts of paradise that are not the highest and not in the middle. Okay? Al-Firdaus, and sometimes it's referred to as Al-Firdaus Al-A'la, both because of its physical position. It is the highest part of paradise and it is the best part of paradise. This is the place where the pious people will go. So he described it, alayhi salatu wassalam, by saying, وَفَوْقَهُ عَرْشُ الرَّحْمَنِ, and above it is the arsh of Allah. Now, paradise, in terms of its place, it is above the seventh sky and disconnected from it. And in terms of what is above Al-Jannah, it is the arsh, except that Al-Jannah is to one side. Al-Jannah is to one side. And to the other side, there is the original water that Allah created. So in other words, you have the arsh, and under the arsh, on one side is Al-Jannah, and on another side is the original water that Allah created. And then below that you have the seventh sky, and like this the skies. So you could say that the Arsh is above all of paradise, but the closest place in paradise, or that is considered part of paradise, to the Arsh itself in terms of physical proximity, this is Al-Firdaus Al-A'la. So the Prophet said alayhi salatu wassalam that if you make dua for Al-Jannah, which Muslims of course we will and we do, he said, إِذَا سَأَلْتُمُ اللَّهَ الْجَنَّةِ, if you do a su'al, if you ask, إِذَا سَأَلْتُمُ اللَّهَ, if you ask Allah for paradise, فَسَلُوهُ, then ask Him, ask Allah Al-Firdaus. Ask Allah for Al-Firdaus. Going back to the general endowments in paradise, we already mentioned that in paradise people live forever and there is no death. We said that people remain healthy forever and they never become ill. We said that in paradise people enjoy themselves and do not become bored, irritated, anxious, or agitated. The Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wassalam, he said in a hadith narrated by Ibn Hibban, he said, هِيَ وَرَبِّ الْكَعْبَةِ نُورٌ يَتَلَأْلَأْ. He said, I swear by the Lord of the Kaaba, I swear by Allah. Paradise is like light, like a nur that glimmers, that glistens, that shines. He said alayhi salatu wassalam, وَرَيْحَانَةٌ تَهْتَزْ, referring to the fruits on the trees of paradise. The Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam said that Adam alayhi salam, he was sent down to earth, and that the names of fruits were sent down with him. But the fruits that we have in this life, they go off, they become rotten, you can't eat them anymore, and so on. However, the fruits in paradise, they're not like that. And he said alayhi salatu wassalam that the only similarity between the fruits of paradise and the fruits in this life is the name. The names of the different fruits are the same, but the fruit itself is very, very different. You take the example of the black stone, Al-Hajar Al-Aswad, although it's not a fruit, it descended from paradise, and it was a gleaming gem. And then over time, as the sinful people began to wipe their faces and their hands with it, especially the polytheists, those that worship other than Allah, it changed color until we started to call it Al-Hajar Al-Aswad. That's because things, when they come to the world, they change. When the physical properties and the attributes that Allah created for this life, when something from paradise is subject to it like this, then it changes, as occurred with the black stone. The Prophet ﷺ described, as Allah revealed in the Quran, لا مقطوعة ولا ممنوعة, meaning that a person, for example, would be sitting in paradise or laying down in paradise, and a person would desire to eat a certain food from a particular tree in paradise. The person would not have to get up himself or outstretch his hand and so on. No. Allah has created it such that if a person desires it, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala has eternally willed that the branch of the tree itself, it would bend for a person. It would bend for a person. He takes the fruit and then the branch, it goes back to where it was, and a new fruit appears in its place. The Prophet ﷺ, he described some of the trees in paradise. He described, for example, a tree known as Tuba. Tuba, it is the tree from which the clothing, the garments of the people of paradise are made. They come from that tree. And they are green garments that the people of Al-Jannah wear. The Messenger of Allah, alayhi salatu wasalam, he said, as was narrated by Al-Bukhari, that there is a tree in paradise. Its name is Tuba. Yasiru rakibu fi dhilliha mi'ata aamin la yaqta'uha. That a person, a rider on horseback, would ride for 100 years in the shadow of this tree without getting to the end of the shadow. Meaning it's more than 100 years worth of a ride on horseback long. That's just the shadow of the tree. That's just the shadow of this tree. So imagine how large of a structure it is. The clothing of the people of paradise come from this tree. So their clothing is very beautiful, made of silk. The Prophet continued alayhi salatu wasalam to describe Al-Jannah. He said, وَقَصْرٌ مَشِيدٌ, that there are very, very high castles for people in paradise, not on the ground, not on the floor of paradise, but they are in the air. They are in the air. في هواء الجنة. Some of them are made of pearls, hollow pearls. And some of them, in terms of their length, are 60 miles long. Imagine owning just one castle in paradise that is 60 miles long. Subhanallah. In this life, if you want to build an extension in the attic, you want to use the loft, or you want to build an extension, you want to extend the kitchen, they say you need permission. For what? For a meter, they say that you need some sort of permission from the authorities. In paradise, 60 miles. 60 miles. If you had a 60-mile long castle in this life, you start running after praying Al-Asr, you won't get to the end by Al-Maghrib. You'll have to pit stop on the way. Have a snack on the way. 60 miles. La ilaha illallah. And that's just one castle. In paradise, every person will have at least 2 gardens. 2 large gardens. Not like in this life, okay, a person might have a garden. If they're lucky, they'll have a tree. MashaAllah. Or if they are lucky, they might have, let's say, a palm tree in that garden. Alhamdulillah. They have a hedge. Separates their land from another person's land. In paradise, every person will have 2 gardens. In one garden, everything will be made of gold. Everything will be made of gold. All the utensils, they will be made of gold also. And in the other, all the utensils will be made of silver. He said, Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, وَنَهْرٌ مُطَّرِدٌ. He said that there are rivers in paradise. They are so majestic. Their beauty is so captivating that they don't run in channels at all. Forget deep channels, they don't run in channels. Somehow, extraordinarily, the water of the rivers flows on the land. To give you an example, if you want to go and stand on the riverbed, if you want to take your shoes and your socks off and you want to dangle your legs down, perhaps your toes would hit the water. You can do that because the rivers in this life, they are in channels. There are channels there. Not in paradise. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wassalam, وَنَهْرٌ مُضْطَرِدٌ. A person takes from them easily. Very easily. Allah revealed in the Quran, فِيهَا أَنْهَارٌ مِّن مَّاءٍ غَيْرِ آسٍ. In paradise there are rivers where there are fresh waters that are not stagnant. In this life, if you leave water somewhere for a while, and then after a day, even after a day, if you taste it, you feel like it's a bit off, right? Like that, if water stays still, it becomes stagnant. It sometimes it might acquire certain things. You start to see bits in it. Not in paradise. Allah revealed, فِيهَا أَنْهَارٌ, there are rivers of water, min ma غَيْرِ آسٍ, that are not stagnant. وَأَنْهَارٌ مِّن لَبَنٍ لَمْ يَتَغَيَّرْ طَعْمُهُ, and there are whole rivers. Who's ever seen the Nile in real life? Seen the Nile? Real life? It's huge, isn't it? It's huge. It looks like a sea. That's a river. Imagine in paradise a river of milk. Milk. Allah revealed, وَأَنْهَارٌ مِّن لَبَنٍ لَمْ يَتَغَيَّرْ طَعْمُهُ, the taste of which doesn't change. If you leave milk somewhere for a while, you leave it for a day or two. Then you try sipping it. In paradise there are huge bodies of water like this. Water and milk. وَأَنْهَارٌ مِّنْ خَمْرٍ لَذَّةٍ لِلشَّارِبِينَ, and then there are rivers of non-intoxicating wine. Wine in this life, khamr, that which is produced from grapes, and other intoxicating drinks. In this life, if a person drinks that, this is haram of course, but it's intoxicating. It makes a person drunk. It takes a person sometimes to a level that they don't know what they're doing. They hurt people, they swear at people, they harm themselves, they embarrass themselves. In paradise, there is a khamr, there is a wine that people drink. That is not intoxicating. It doesn't get people drunk. In this life, if a person becomes intoxicated with wine and so on, then afterwards they have at least a headache. They feel groggy. Their eyes hurt. Not in paradise. The wine that exists in paradise, it is, as Allah revealed, لَذَّةٍ لِلشَّارِبِينَ, pleasure, delectable for those that drink it. وَأَنْهَارٌ مِّنْ عَسَلٍ مُصَفَّى. Allah revealed that in paradise there are rivers of honey. Have you ever seen a river of honey? No, tell me if you have. I want to go see it. No, no, you haven't, have you? This honey is not produced by bees. In paradise, there are literal rivers of honey that are not produced by bees. Allah created this honey just to be. And when someone takes from it, the rest of the honey doesn't become contaminated. So the names of the contents of these rivers are the same. Rivers of water, rivers of honey, rivers of milk, rivers of non-intoxicating wine. The names are the same, but the reality is very different. The Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّكَ لَتَنْظُرُ إِلَى الطَّيْرِ فِي الْجَنَّةِ فَتَشْتَهِيهِ فَيَخِرُّ بَيْنَ يَدَيْكَ مَشْوِيًّا. We gave the example last week, I think, of the restaurant. You sit at the restaurant and you order. How long does it take for the food to come? Depends on the restaurant and depends on your order. Okay, you wait 5 minutes? You wait 10 minutes? How many times have you been in a restaurant and you think, they're taking their time, aren't they? We're paying good money for this. They're taking their time, subhanallah. Maybe maybe the meat is getting well done. Maybe they've just put a new batch on. Maybe and maybe and maybe. Imagine you were sat at home, subhanallah. Imagine you were sat at home and it's one of those winter evenings. Seems like every evening in Halifax. It's one of those winter evenings and you sat there, subhanallah, and you're listening to a lesson or Quran or something, you're doing something beneficial. You sat there, you're wrapped up, and you think, wish I had something warm. Some tea, some ginger tea with, spoon of honey, maybe some hot chocolate, maybe some coffee. But I've got to drag myself to the kitchen. It's cold in the kitchen. Even the utensils, the handle to the kitchen door, even that's cold. Ya Latif. I wish if I had just this cup that I've got here, this empty cup, which I drank my earlier drink from, my warm drink. I wish I could just have, I wish it would just fill up, subhanallah. The Prophet ﷺ, he said that in paradise, even to look at things in paradise, and not do anything else, this is pleasurable. He said, alayhi salatu wassalam, إِنَّكَ لَتَنْظُرُ إِلَى الطَّيْرِ فِي الْجَنَّةِ. You see one of the birds that fly in paradise. You look at them, and as soon as it even crosses your mind, just like that, you think, I want to eat that. إِنَّكَ لَتَنْظُرُ إِلَى الطَّيْرِ فِي الْجَنَّةِ فَتَشْتَهِيهِ. And if you look at it and you desire to eat it, يَخِرُّ بَيْنَ يَدَيْكَ مَشْوِيًّا. It comes down, bang, it falls down, cooked and fresh to eat. The exact temperature which you want, with the exact, Allahu Alam, spices, if you're a spice person, that you want, exactly as you want it. No, you don't have to wait. It's not like, okay, let me put my order in. Let me tell Al-Wildan Al-Mukhalladin, put it on, I don't know, spice level 4, or add this, add that, no pickles, none of this. And then I'll wait. I'll go do something else in paradise while I wait for it. La. The Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّكَ لَتَنْظُرُ إِلَى طَرِفِ الْجَنَّةِ فَتَشْتَهِي. This fa here, it denotes immediacy. This fa. إِنَّكَ لَتَنْظُرُ إِلَى الطَّيْرِ فِي الْجَنَّةِ. You look at something flying in paradise. فَتَشْتَهِي. Immediately, if you desire it, what happens? فَيَخِرُّ. It comes, it drops. How does it drop? بَيْنَ يَدَيْكَ, in front of you. مَشْوِيًّا, cooked, grilled, however you like. Imagine that. Imagine in this life, a person could do that. They just wanted something and it came. Like that. The scholars said this is because they said al-intidhar. You know what al-intidhar is? You must know what al-intidhar. Al-intidhar. Al-intidhar? Yes? To wait. Yes? They said al-intidhar in this life, for many things, they said al-intidhar yunaghisul aish. You know what yunaghis means? Now if you know that one, I'll be impressed. Yunaghisul aish. They said waiting for things in general in this life, it irritates. It does. Think about it. There's something that you want to do, even if it's something like I mean, if a person is in a hurry, if someone else is using the stapler, even something as little as that, you might think, okay, come on. Are you done? No, not yet. Okay. Someone is in the bathroom. You're waiting for someone to, finish eating. You're waiting for something other than waiting for the prayer, because that's rewardable, and what resembles that. Waiting for something, usually, the scholar said, يُنَغِّسُ الْعَيْشِ. They're very frank about it. He said it, يُنَغِّس. It irritates one's lifestyle. It irritates you. This is why they said immediately when a person sees something in paradise that they like, that they want to eat, for example, it comes immediately. And when this meat falls from the sky, after you had seen it flying, even in seeing that, there is an awe and a pleasure that a person experiences that pleases one. So it's not just, okay, the bird fell down and now we're going to eat it. Not like that. When you see something extraordinary, when you hear, just merely hearing about something extraordinary, it makes you feel a certain way. It gets you excited. Imagine seeing that again and again and again in paradise, and in different ways as well. There are so many different types of enjoyments in paradise that a person is not able to encompass them all. The Prophet ﷺ, he described some of the buildings in paradise. He said, as was narrated by At-Tirmidhi, Al-Jannatu labinatun min dhahab wa labinatun min fidda. Paradise, the buildings within it, the bricks of these walls, one of the bricks is golden and the next one is silver. Another is golden and the next one is silver. What some people would do in this life for one golden brick. People kill in this life for golden bricks. How much is it going to be worth? £50,000, £60,000. There, one might say, it's like any other brick in paradise. Gold and silver, gold and silver. Only the best for the people of paradise. He said, alayhi salatu wassalam, تُرَابُهَا زَعْفَرَانٌ وَطِينُهَا مِسْكٌ. That the soil in paradise, it's saffron. It's saffron. وَطِينُهَا, also in some narrations, the soil, it is also musk. Musk and saffron. Not like in this life, when it's raining outside and you fall over and your clothes are muddy, especially if you're young and you come home and mum shouts at you for a while, then you have to wash those clothes. But in paradise, even the soil is made of musk. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, he said that the area that a whip, which is what? A whip is perhaps about this long. The area that a whip of a person covers in this life, or this whip, okay, this area in paradise is better than everything in this world. Imagine that. The amount of space that a whip takes up in paradise, that amount of space, which is, imagine, part of this table from here to here, okay, that is better than everything in this world. Everything, things like the soil, the flat plains, the mountains, the valleys, which people would give so much in this life to earn some of that, to earn a mountain, to own a mountain. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, إِذَا سَأَلْتُمُ اللَّهَ الْجَنَّةِ, if you ask for al-Jannah, فَسَلُوهُ الْفِرْدَوْسِ, ask Allah for al-Firdaus. Everybody should strive for al-Firdaus. Al-Firdaus is for the pious people. The Messenger of Allah ﷺ said that Allah revealed in a hadith. So the Prophet is saying what Allah mentioned. أَعْدَدْتُ لِعِبَادِيَ الصَّالِحِينَ, that Allah has prepared for the pious slaves مَا لَا عَيْنٌ رَأَتْ, what no eye has ever seen, وَلَا أُذُنٌ سَمِعَتْ, and what no ear has ever heard, وَلَا خَطَرَ عَلَى قَلْبِ بَشَرٍ, and what no one has ever thought of. In paradise, in the center, so this is paradise, the center of paradise, the middle and the highest part of paradise is known as Al-Firdaus. This is a part of paradise which even those that are in paradise right now, there are angels in paradise, there are Al-Hur Al-Ain in paradise, the special women that have been created in paradise, and there are Al-Wildan Al-Mukhalladun, these servants that are neither human nor jinn or angel. Even they are in paradise, they do not know what is in Al-Firdaus. Allah revealed, as the Prophet mentioned ﷺ, that this, for the pious people, in Al-Firdaus is what no eye has ever seen. Think about it. One person has how many thousands of Al-Wildan Al-Mukhalladun did we say? How many thousands did we say last week? 10,000? In some narrations, 70,000 also. For each person. That's a lot of eyes. And the angels also in paradise, that's a lot of eyes. No eye has ever seen what is inside Al-Firdaus. Among the different types of pleasures that exist in Al-Firdaus, in this part of paradise. Remember, paradise will last forever. And the people within it will last forever. Their enjoyment will last forever. So, can you imagine the number of enjoyments, of the different types of enjoyments that exist in paradise? No eye has ever seen and no ear has ever heard. What is it that reaches a person's ears in this life that is enjoyable? Things that are calming even. The sound of water, the sound of rain, a waterfall, many things, bird song, many things. There are so many different types of enjoyments in paradise that just relate to hearing, that we do not know about. Likewise, he said, alayhi salatu wassalam, وَلَا خَطَرَ عَلَى قَلْبِ بَشَرٍ. Those enjoyments that exist in Al-Firdaus, that are for the pious, which we all have an opportunity to be among, if we strive. No person, no man or woman has ever thought of any of those enjoyments that exist in Al-Firdaus. From the time of Adam alayhi salam until now, until the day of judgment, imagine how many people there are going to be. Imagine you yourself. think about how many things you've imagined, things that aren't true. Even scenarios that you've played through in your mind. What if I'd done this? What if I'd done that? What if I was walking and somebody came to me and said this or did that? How would I react? How would they react? How would she or he react? All these different scenarios that you in one day might imagine. Imagine in 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. All the different things that you imagine, I could have done it better. I could have done it like that. I wonder what that person was doing while I was doing this. Imagine different scenarios. No person, the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, وَلَا خَطَرَ عَلَى قَلْبِ بَشَرٍ. It didn't even come to the heart of any person from the time of Adam alayhi salam until, let's say, the Day of Judgment. Any of the enormous number of different types of enjoyments that are in Al-Firdaus. Not even one has come to the mind of a single person since Adam alayhi salam. How many thoughts do you think a person thinks? I don't know. Allahu A'lam. In one day. Think about in their lifetime. Right now, if you want to think about certain things that are enjoyable, that are in paradise, there are foods, there are drinks, there are riding on animals, flying horses, there is soaring into the sky under the arsh. There are so many different things that you could think of. And these are the things you can think of. Ya salam. These are the things you can think of. But the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, he said that Allah mentioned, وَلَا خَطَرَ عَلَى قَلْبِ بَشَرٍ. They've never even come. These different types of enjoyments that are in Al-Firdaus have never even occurred to the heart of any person. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And this is for the pious. Who is a pious person? A pious person is somebody who firstly learns the obligatory knowledge. Number 2, they implement the obligatory knowledge. They do what is obligatory and they stay away from every haram, every single sin. Such that, can you imagine the purity in this person? They don't sin. They've stayed away from sinning for 7 months or 8 months. They haven't committed a sin, not even a small sin, for a year. And along with that, so they've ticked one box, which is that they have acquired the personal obligatory knowledge. Secondly, they do all the obligations. Remember, it's not just prayer that's an obligation. Take a man, for example. He is obligated to pray the 5 obligatory prayers. He is obligated to provide every day for his dependents, his wife, his, let's say, non-pubescent children. He is, so already many obligations there. He's obligated to provide for his poor Muslim parents. He's obligated to provide for his poor siblings. He's obligated to give a zakah. He is obligated to thank Allah, meaning not to use the hand to sin. If he uses the hand to sin, he's not fulfilling that obligation. If he uses the endowment of Allah, which is the eye, something that Allah gave him, to sin, then he's not completing the obligatory thanking, which is to refrain from using the endowment of Allah to disobey Allah. There are so many obligations in the day. To not use the ears to sin, the hands to sin, the private parts to sin, and the feet or the legs to sin. All these are obligations. So this person does not commit any sin. He doesn't commit any sins of the tongue. Can't believe I forgot that one. Subhanallah, the tongue. He hasn't lied for a year. He hasn't committed a ghibah. He hasn't had a stab for a year. And anybody. He doesn't think ill of people. He always makes an excuse. For a year he's been like that. For a year and a half. For 2 years, sinless. While having learned the personal obligatory knowledge, performing the obligations, staying away from the haram for this period of time. And then on top of that, because he enjoys worshipping Allah, he does a lot of even one optional act of worship. Like he says a lot of dhikr, a lot of it. He says, La ilaha illallah 10,000 times a day. Takes him about 4 hours of his day to say La ilaha illallah 10,000 times. Or he donates a lot. He donates a lot. An extra act of worship on top of the obligations. He's ticked those boxes and is continually ticking those boxes every single day. And he does extra acts of worship. Let me take a step back. This person who's learned the obligatory knowledge, he is performing the obligations and staying away from the haram. This person is known as a pious person. Up to here, this is a pious person. Up to here, we can call this person mu'min kamil, meaning he is a perfect Muslim. He is considered a perfect Muslim. But there is a level above the perfect Muslim. So, Al-Firdaus is for someone like this, for the perfect Muslim, who learned, does all the obligations, and stays away from all of the haram. This is mu'minun kamil, a perfect Muslim. Then a level above that, so Al-Firdaus is for this type of person. A level above that is a person who does extra acts of worship. Like I mentioned, says a lot, La ilaha illallah. Or does another optional deed a lot. Whether it's donating, helping the orphans, helping or financing, helping poor people, helping the widows who have nobody, helping, and so on. This person, if they remain upon this state for a while, then they reach a very high level, which is known as al-wilaya. Al-wilaya, this is a level above the level of a person being a pious slave of Allah. This person that reaches al-wilaya is said to have attained the acceptance of Allah. At this stage, Allah informed that such a person, if he reaches that level, then Allah would create blessings within the hand of this person and the eyes of this person, and likewise the tongue of this person. As a sign of this person having reached that level, extraordinary matters would appear at the hands of this person. All of them being a sign that he is fully following the Prophet ﷺ in the most perfect way. Al-Firdaus is for the men and women who reach this level also, which is above the level of being a perfect Muslim. And then you have the prophets. This is obvious. So Al-Firdaus is for the prophets, for the awliya that I just described, and for the perfect Muslims. Now, prophethood is not attainable, because prophethood was given by Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, and the door of prophethood is now closed. There will be no new prophets. But reaching the level of becoming a pious person, this is very much within the reach of every person, every Muslim who is still alive. Not even to say it's in the reach of some Muslims. No, it is within, because a person, they need to strive. If they strive, they get there. But Allah revealed that it is very few people who reach this level, because they don't exert themselves. Allah revealed that the awliya, they are people that when they are about to die, if they are people that do not know that they've reached this level, and how would they know? It's not common, but these people are not common, for one. Secondly, how would they know that they have reached this level? They wouldn't usually know. So they would fear death like every sane person. They would fear death because none of us have actually tasted death. And you hear about the pain that is involved and the soul coming out, and for some people being ripped out of their bodies and so on, and what it follows on from that, the grave and so on. So the awliya, a person who doesn't know that he's reached this level, he would be afraid naturally of death. Then for some of these people, they feel that their death is close, and there are so many narrations of people who were pious, who when their time of death, it got close, they informed that they felt that they thought that their time was close, that their death was close, and so on. So Allah, or rather the Prophet ﷺ revealed, or rather the Prophet conveyed, as Allah revealed, that tatanazzalu, descends. Who descends? Al-malaika. The angels descend before these people die, and they sit at a distance, sometimes 10 angels, sometimes 70 angels, sometimes 100, sometimes perhaps even several hundred angels. They come to honor this person. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wassalam, the face of every one of these angels like the shining sun. That's how bright the faces of these angels are. When a person is about to die, when such a person is about to die, perhaps minutes before, and they would come and sit at a distance, and this would soothe the person. The person would enjoy looking at them. Then Angel Azra'il alayhi salam, the angel of death, he would come in the form of an elderly man. Upon whose he would come in the image of an elderly man, and you would be able to see the authority or the blessings or the awe of that situation coming from his face. He would come and he would say to this person, to this man or this woman, he would say, Assalamu alayka ya wali Allah, peace be upon you, O wali of Allah. Abshir bi rahmatillahi wa ridwani. Prepare or glad tidings to you, be happy at the mercy of Allah and the acceptance of Allah. You had attained the acceptance of Allah. When this person hears that, then all of the worries that this person had about leaving behind their family, leaving behind their assets, what is coming in the grave. This is the happiest that this person has ever been. More pleased than when their daughter was born, more pleased than when their son was born, more pleased than any worldly matter that they had achieved, attained, or experienced in this life. That point. And then the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wassalam, Man ahabba liqa Allah, ahabba Allahu liqa'ah. Meaning, whoever at that point, whoever falls in love with death, meaning whoever then, when that's said to them, they don't fear anymore. Whoever that happens to, then they will want for their soul to be taken so that they can leave this prison of a world for what is coming for them. Luxuries in the grave, enjoyment on the Day of Judgment, and perpetual pleasure in paradise. The awliya, they are the people that will be in Al-Firdaus. Likewise, the prophets we've already mentioned. But then also the pious people. Al-Jannah, it deserves for a person to strive for it. Then the greatest endowment upon the people of Al-Jannah is that they would be given the ability in their eyes to see Allah Ta'ala. This is something that is unimaginable because Allah is unimaginable. Allah is unique. There is nothing like Him whatsoever. Allah is not a light. Allah is not in a place or a direction. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is not like us. Allah will not be inside paradise. Allah will not be above the arsh, and so on. Allah has always been without a place. The people in Al-Jannah, all the people in Al-Jannah, in paradise, whether they reach Al-Firdaus or not, they will be given this endowment, and it is the greatest endowment that the people of paradise are given. Better than anything in paradise. They will be given the ability to see Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. And this is better than any other endowment that they will receive. The difference is that the people who are not in Al-Firdaus, they will be given this endowment once every week. Once. Through this, you see the difference in the rank between the people of Al-Firdaus and those that are not in Al-Firdaus. Those that are not in Al-Firdaus, they will be given this endowment of seeing Allah once a week. Those that are in Al-Firdaus will be given this endowment twice every day. La ilaha illallah. Al-Imam Abu Hanifa radiyallahu anhu said that the people of paradise, they will be given the ability to see Allah Ta'ala without Allah being in a direction. When you look at me, you look this way. When you If you look to your right, you see certain things. When you look to your left, you see other things. There is a distance between you and those things. This means you're in a place, and those things are in a place. As for Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, Allah has always been without place. Always, always, always. And like that, Allah will always be without a place. Abu Hanifa radiyallahu anhu said, يَرَوْنَهُ بِأَعْيُنِ رُؤُوسِهِمْ, that the people in paradise will see Allah with the eyes in their heads, meaning these eyes. But again, that doesn't mean that Allah will be in paradise. Allah is not like the creation. Tabaraka wa ta'ala. And the people will live in paradise forever and ever and ever. Not becoming bored of the endowments, not becoming bored of the different enjoyments. Like we said, the Prophet ﷺ said that that people in paradise will live happily. And then in Al-Firdaus, further encouragement for Al-Firdaus, no one has ever imagined even one of the numerous types. Allahu Alam, how many types of enjoyments there are in Al-Firdaus? Millions, trillions, Allah knows best. That a person will continue enjoying forever without an end. Subhanallah. There are many other things that we together haven't reviewed that exist in paradise, but that's insha'Allah a good reminder for all of us to work towards paradise. To finish, the Prophet ﷺ said, هَلْ مِن مُشَمِّرٍ لِلْجَنَّةِ, is there anybody willing to roll their sleeves up for paradise? Meaning, is there anybody willing to work hard for paradise? So some of the companions said, نَحْنُ مُشَمِّرُونَ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ, we are ready to strive to work for paradise, O Messenger of Allah. And then he, alayhi salatu wasalam, began describing it to them. So to finish, paradise deserves for people to work hard for it, for people to endeavor for it, for people to exert themselves, to attain within it all those luxuries. Like someone might say, those luxuries don't come for free. You have to work. You have to put the work in. Like most things in this life, okay, they don't get put on a golden or silver platter for you. You have to work hard for it. And in the past, there were many people that worked hard for it. Many, many people. And they showed us the way. They ate little, they drank little, they slept little, they worshipped Allah a lot. They were always with their intention. Always seeing, how is it that I can attain reward from this deed? Let me not just perform the obligations, let me do the recommended matters also. How is it that I can watch my heart? How is it that I can take arrogance or sinful pride or having a grudge against Muslims how can I get this out of my heart? Let me work. It's difficult. Sometimes this life is so difficult that a person sheds tears. Sometimes a person has shed so many tears that it's as though the tears have dried up. Sometimes a person's heart becomes rock solid, hard. But again, a person sees an opportunity. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala bestows some of the signs of His mercy upon a person, and a person is reminded, yes, I'm still alive. I can still work for Al-Jannah. I can still fix all these matters that are in me. We ask Allah to grant us paradise. We ask Allah to grant us Al-Firdaus Al-A'la. We ask Allah to grant us and our loved ones death upon Al-Islam. We ask Allah to grant us safety in the hereafter, to protect us from the punishment of the grave and from hellfire. Let's say La ilaha illallah once and as-salah ala nabi. لا إله إلا الله اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم.
Barakallahu feekum. We have about 10 minutes, some stalls, buy some desserts, etc. So please do that.